Entrepremommies, we share from experience. Moms talk about things that affect moms in general. The mommy entrepreneurs, we are the moms that handle business, and that means a lot. Remember, Entrepremommies.
Hello, and welcome to the Entrepremommies Show. I am Tiffany Tracey, aka the Resellqueen.
Hello, and I'm Nicole Flamer. How's everybody doing?
Well, Nikki, this has been a heck of a week, hasn't it?
Girl, yes, indeed.
So we had the holiday for Thanksgiving, and then we had our high school reunion the day after Thanksgiving. It was a fun time had by all.
Yes, I agree.
It was great to see you in person.
I know, right? It was great. We haven't seen each other in a while. Yeah.
Right? It was so
Physically,
great.
right.
Yeah, right. And
Yes.
it was just, I think, because of dealing with the issues of COVID, being able to just gather in a place of people that you know and just having fun was great.
It was.
You know,
It was.
I had a great time. I thankfully did not drink too much, so I'm proud of myself with that.
Yes.
But it was great to kind of catch up with, you know, our peers that we went to high school with. And I always say this about where we grew up, but it's so true, and it rung so true in that room. We went to school with a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
A lot of people making their own way in their own lanes, rather, and doing the things that they like to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just our age group, you know, because you kind of do get to that point.
Yeah.
When you reach a certain age.
I think as Generation Xers too, I mean, I think that's like a hallmark of our generation. We're kind of like the forgotten generation. Like everybody jumps to millennials, you know, the baby boomers and millennials, and we're kind of lost, and nobody really talks about us because we do our own thing. But that's kind of like a hallmark of our generation, is to kind of be self-starters and, you know, self-employed. I mean, even if you if you remember days in the work world, you usually have older people and younger people. It's not many people our age. Like I always used to find it interesting that, you know, people would be older and younger than me when I would take jobs. And I'm like, okay, where's my group at? Where's my peers? You know? So, or my same age peers, I should say.
Right. I know what you mean there. It's funny because we grew up in an age where the internet was introduced to the masses. You know, it wasn't that it wasn't there, but it was introduced in the masses. It was brought into the home. Many of us are the ones that taught our parents about computers and the internet.
Yeah.
You know, I remember getting a computer. I said a computer in my home as a child. Yep. And I was the only person using it.
Yeah.
You know, and I say a computer as I sit in a room full of about 3 of them. And that's not including my laptops. So, you know, and your cell phone, because let's be real, that's a computer too.
Yes,
you know?
definitely.
So we grew up in that age but we also know about the rotary phone.
Right.
You know, the 4, 5. You know,
and answering machines.
Right?
Right. Yes. Yep.
Remember that used to be a big thing to make your answering machine message.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You'd be prepping. Man.
So we grew up it's like we grew up where, like, with the baby boomers, because they're our parents. And but then we either gave birth to these millennials. And I think a lot of us, where we talk bad about millennials, well, guess who their parents are?
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of us because of how we grew up, sometimes we wanted to give them more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had access to more,
Mm-hmm.
you know, than what our parents could probably allow for us to have, and or just technology just wasn't there.
Right.
You know, so I think it's something that we embrace the technology
Mm-hmm.
so well that our children, that's all they really know, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's, you know, but it was a fun time. It was great to see everyone and
Mm-hmm.
dance to songs that are now on oldie stations, which I can't
No,
believe it, right?
it's unbelievable. I know.
Unbelievable, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But it was a good time.
Yeah.
I do want to thank I know Kim watches us from time to time. Kim
Okay.
made this great like banner for
Yes.
me.
That's awesome.
She was asking for sponsors. So she's the one who put the whole thing together. She also owns her own business called the Checkered Mat.
That's right.
And she put a nice thing together for everyone that was a sponsor or a patron.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, wow, I have something now that I can always use.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, and it was just a small amount donation to help out,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the cost so that we could have, you know, nice things during that time. And, you know, she was going through her own personal issues during that time period with family and such. So I really appreciate that she was able to put that together. And I also really appreciate our class because when, you know, I was going around during the party, you know, with a card and getting money from people, you know, not really asking for it, just saying we want to give her a little token of appreciation.
Right.
And it was probably one of the easiest sales pitches I've ever made in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's me. I went and I hustled and I got that money, you know, it was quite easy.
Yeah.
You
know,
know,
she did a great job. Yes.
Sure
She did a great job. It was, and you know, event planning and stuff, that's not necessarily easy, and it's not easy to get people together. And you know, she did a great job with everything that she's going through, and she's got a husband and a family too. I mean, so she's, you know, she did a great job. Yeah. And I'm so happy to have her in our class and in our life, you know?
Yes. So. I know she enjoyed herself and had a good time. So I was happy for that for her.
Yes.
You know, she deserved it, you know, and
she did.
I don't know what other things she's thinking about, but honestly, party planning or event planning,
she could add that to her wheelhouse. Yes, indeed.
To put into her wheelhouse. She obviously has a knack for it. Obviously.
Definitely.
So I really enjoyed it. And also, Nikki, thank you for your shoes. I so appreciate them.
So you're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah. So for those of you watching and listening, like, what is she talking about? So after the party was over and I was dumb enough to wear high heel boots because I thought I was cute. I mean, I was. But,
you did. You looked great. Yes. You looked great in your outfit. Yes, indeed.
The boots were killing me. And then I said, then I had these other shoes with me that were still high heels. And I wore them and I was like, oh my gosh, they're still killing my feet.
Yes.
And I normally wear high heels without a problem.
Yeah.
Now that I've, you know, lost a little bit of weight and I've worn those heels. But because COVID, we haven't been out after so many hours, girl. It's not happening anymore.
I know. I had some heels on too. My feet were killing, and they were like aerosol heels. Like they weren't even like. And I was like, I got to kick these bad boys off because I'm not used to it. I'm either in my feet or in some sort of sneaker or slipper 90% of the time.
Exactly. The other like couple weeks ago, I was like writing down like a list of stuff that I needed to go to the store, and I put, I need a new slippers, and my husband said, work shoes.
Right.
And I looked at him, I said, don't hate. He said, you need more work shoes. I was like, no. Don't hate.
Work shoe.
Guess what? My feet are in them right now. Okay.
Yep.
But you do your best work when you're relaxed.
Yes.
So that's when I do my best work. I'm sitting in my my nice fluffy slippers.
Yes, indeed.
So but it was fun, and I'm glad that we were able to do that and mesh and talk with other entrepreneurial people in our class. So it was a great time. It was great. It's kind of nice to talk about a weekend and how much fun you had instead of
how much work or how exhausting it was. Yes.
Well, it's funny with like with my sales, I have not. Because I didn't want to put myself on like a vacation mode for my reselling stuff, because I technically I wouldn't need it, but I also didn't want to come home with like a whole bunch of sales.
Right.
Have to ship. So everything that I've already gotten that I needed to replenish, I didn't update my quantities yet.
Okay.
But what's really funny, because of the holiday season that we're in, stuff that I was like, oh, I forgot about these. They were selling.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh man, that's right. It's holiday season. People actually might want this stuff.
Right.
Things that are like my cold inventory.
Yes.
That was going through the roof.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, I thought I was going to come home to no shipping, and now I have quite a bit of shipping. So I mean, it's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have.
It was like, that was my planning in my head. Like, oh, so I actually haven't done it yet, but I have to update my quantities on my wholesale stuff to get that all done. So
that's my goal for today. Well, for this week is to finally get my office together so that I can start working. I'm at a point where I'm ready to do something different. So I got to see what I have, like what kind of inventory I have left. And I think, we were talking about this a little bit before the show about some of the things that are changing and kind of how we adapt to different things. And kind of moving into the house, I kind of realized that I'm in a different place right now. I'm just than where I was for the 6 years that I was like living with my family and preparing to move into this house and take care of my family and everything, my kids and stuff. Like, I'm in a different place, and now I want to do something different. I like the drop shipping model. I love that because I don't have to keep as much inventory. I sell oils and perfumes and lotions and stuff. But I'm kind of getting tired of that. I kind of want to do something different. So I'm going to go through some brainstorming. I've been reading some books and like Atomic Habits. I've been reading that book just to kind of help myself get a little bit more organized and, change how I'm in a whole new environment. I don't even have a real schedule yet. Like, my schedule is driven by my children right now. It's like, okay, put the kids on the bus. Got to be home by this time for when they get off the bus.
Yes.
And so that's not really a good place to be, because your habits drive your behavior, which drives your focus, your goals, and what you're able to get done. So since I've been moving, I've been unpacking and stuff, but now I'm kind of in the house. I'm kind of unpacked. And I'm like, okay, so now what? I need to get an exercise regimen going. I need to get, there's like things that I need to do in order to feel secure. And that's one thing that I've noticed over the last, I would say 3 or 4 weeks. I've been feeling really insecure just because I don't have any type of system yet, and I'm like, okay, well, calm down, Nick. This is the time to plan the system, to get everything ready. Like, it's okay. So I've been, kind of babying myself, being like, calm down. Don't freak out yet. But yeah, I'm at that point where it's like, okay, I think I want to do something new. I want to do something different. So
it's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, you kind of get into your own flow because, you have your home, it's yours, you were able to design it the way that you need it, which is great.
Yes.
And then now, kids get older,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully they stay in school,
Yes, right.
that's a, and you're able to finally like set up that schedule for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually been my whole big problem this whole year, is setting up my schedule and making sure that I have the right amount of time for the things that I know that I need to work on, whether it be personal or business. The one thing I think I worked out well was I always made sure I got my exercising in.
Yeah.
And the thing that I learned was I need to sleep 8 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't sleep 8 hours a day, it doesn't really matter if I exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me was a wake-up call, like, wow, I need to get my 8 hours in.
Mm-hmm.
What a difference my next day is when I get in my 8 hours.
Yeah.
I can write down what needs to be done. I can stay on top of my tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And I am more focused because I'm not going,
yeah,
let me get more coffee or something to get myself together. When I don't get my 8 hours, I know it. I feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about those whole mantras, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah.
Or, there's 24 hours a day. How many of them are you using hustle? You know what I mean? Those type of things. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't stay up late from time to time, because when I got my shipments, sometimes I am staying up late getting them done.
Yeah.
But I am also making sure that I have a nice process so that after getting everything out, my shipping process is about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's good.
And now that's if I have under 50 items. If it's more than 50 items, I actually do stuff all throughout the day.
Yeah.
And I can, and you can see it on your phone as time moves on. You're like, okay, I might set aside a little bit of time, and I can actually do that with a kid in the house.
Right.
So I can say, okay, a kid during that time period where it was something that I would be working on and be over focused. And I can actually work on shipping while my kid is finishing his homework.
Right.
Those type of, and those are things that you kind of learn, as you learn yourself and you get a flow, for how you do with your business, So I feel you on that. It'll come.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, I'm still getting there myself, because it will come, because you have things that you kind of can't control sometimes, especially when you need outside help on certain things. You can only help when they're available, and all that extra stuff,
Right.
And so it will come, and what will be great, you'll have that one day you're like, oh, I got everything done I'm supposed to.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow.
Right. I feel you.
So like what you were alluding to earlier about adapting. So right before we came on, we were just talking about an article that came out. I was reading the article. I want to say it was like a day or two after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And the whole time I'm reading this article, I'm like, oh man, here we go again.
Right.
We're gonna, we've been talking about supply chain issues this whole time, that we've been back on here, because it really is an issue, but it's getting ready to be even more of an issue, especially if you are getting products coming in from China. So China has put out a 7-week quarantine for I'm going to call them cargo ship workers. Some people are calling them sailors, but they're people that are dealing with our cargo. So this is China's way of trying to stay zero COVID as much as possible. And when these new variants were announced, they put in these new restrictions, and it's going to impact you people. It's going to impact you as a buyer and as a seller. Because it's a full 7-week quarantine. So when the ships return back to China, those ships have to, in a way, float around for 2 weeks. They can't, those people, they could dock, but those people can't get off for 2 weeks.
Right.
They cannot get off for 2 weeks. Even if they are having like a medical emergency, they are not allowing them off. They are like, you are staying on the boat. You have to quarantine. And then after that, after they go through that whole process, they have to quarantine in their province, which I guess would be like their state or whatever, like for us, but not with their family.
Right.
It's in a sanctioned area that they have for people that are quarantining. And that's like another 3-week process. And then they can see their family. Right. So if you're thinking about this, if I'm working, it takes me 7 weeks to see my family. I'm going to want another week, 2, maybe 3 or 4 with my family before I go back to work.
Right. Right.
You know? So, and it's also making it very hard on the people that own these ships and the cargo ships, because they can't just go and pick up a new crew.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You know, the last crew could still be on quarantine.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so what does that mean for people like us?
Yeah.
Means we're going to have a whole nother delay on items, which for the most part, some places were catching up. Now they were still backed up.
Right.
You know, they were still backed up, especially in like some ports, like on the West Coast, still majorly backed up. But this is going to be even worse, because it's not even about it getting a port and being backed up. It's going to be about how long is it sitting on the ship?
Right, right. And how long is it? Yeah, sitting on the ship, sitting in China, waiting for the owners to get a crew together to head out. I mean, 7 weeks is a long time. That's almost 2 months.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
I think about it as if I'm a worker, I'm like, so I gotta wait all this time before I can make money again.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the process, how they've done their, I'm calling it, for lack of a better word, that we did like a stimulus plan. I don't know what they've done in China.
Yeah.
You know, to help out their citizens. But I'm sure they're not getting a check for these 7 weeks.
Yeah, I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was reading, I'm reading a Bloomberg article. I don't know which one that you're referring to, but China is serious about getting rid of COVID. Like they did. I mean, this is how gangster they are. They locked in 34,000 people at Shanghai Disneyland for mandatory testing. And then a Beijing school, held the primary school children overnight after a teacher tested positive. So,
whoa.
Yeah. So they're gangster with this. They don't want COVID anymore. They're like, we're going to do whatever it takes to get rid of it. So,
wow. I did hear about the amusement park.
Yeah.
But I did not know that about the school.
Could you imagine getting that call?
That phone call?
We're keeping your kid overnight for testing because the teacher tested positive and we need to be on the safe side. Could you imagine getting that call?
I wouldn't be able to sleep.
I know. I would be outside the school like, when are you all the guys letting my kids out? Oh my goodness. So they want to get rid of this COVID. I guess they figured the biggest way it's coming in is through their shipping industry. So
yeah. Well, if you want to visit over there, I think it's like 50-some day quarantine that you have to take. So it's like, is it even? I mean, unless you have family.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, is it worth it? Because you're not going to vacation.
Right. Yeah. That's like, your vacation in quarantine. Yes, I quarantined in China that's ridiculous. So basically they're saying don't come here.
Right?
So don't come.
I mean, I'm not mad at them, but
Right, that's what they're saying. Don't come here. But you know what, though? I can understand China's vigilance because at the beginning of the pandemic, China got such a bad rap. I mean, they were the butt of all pandemic jokes. I mean, shoot, we even had Asian hate in America as a
was a real
result
issue.
of everybody pigeonholing China as the cause of the pandemic. So I can understand they're like trying to rebrand and be like, no, we're COVID zero. We're harsh on COVID. We're not having it. So I can understand as a country from a marketing perspective where they want to show the rest of the world that they're serious about, their COVID policies. But this is definitely going to impact us either as a seller or, like you said, or as a customer. We're just starting to really kind of ease into the supply chain issues. Things like I noticed I was at the store last week and they had a lot of new things back in. And I was like, oh, cool. Things I haven't seen. Like, you start to get used to seeing the empty shelves for certain things. And, I just noticed that things were starting to refill. I'm like, everybody must have got their shipments in and stuff. But I mean, this 7-week quarantine, who knows how this is going to affect us at the end of the day. I mean, we don't know what's sitting on those cargo ships.
We have no idea, and I'm like, right now, I like my wholesale stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even go through that process right now to have anything come through China.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the people that I work with maybe have things come in through China,
mm-hmm.
but I'm not going through that process anymore.
Yeah.
I don't feel like dealing with it. I don't want to deal with the issue with issues of having cargo sit there, because
mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't realize it's not just, no one's picking up your product. When it's sitting at the shipyard, you pay fees for that.
Yeah.
That's not free.
Yeah.
It's called storage.
Yeah.
They charge you for it to sit there,
mm-hmm.
because you have to go through the process of, once it goes and gets inspected, then it needs to be picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a whole nother issue right now.
Mm-hmm.
You may have a truck driver, they don't get paid until they get the load.
Right.
So they're sitting there hours upon hours waiting for a load.
Mm-hmm.
And whichever one they get, that's the one they're going to transport.
Right.
They don't get to say, I want this one, I want that one. They have their whole list of what they transport for and who they who they're contracted through. So they get what they get and they transport because they need to make money too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That industry has been hit. They were, it's not out there yet, but everyone knows about these autonomous trucks and automation.
Right.
It's coming. It's,
mm-hmm.
It's not that it's coming. It's already here.
Yeah.
I think about a couple years ago when I was in Vegas, one of the Uber cars that could pick you up
mm-hmm.
was a self-driving car.
Yeah.
And it gave you the options. Now there is a person in the car
mm-hmm.
there, but it gave you one of those options if you wanted that type of vehicle or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, if you think about that, you would never have to need sleep.
Right.
Now, still require a person to be in there. All you need is 2 people. One person stays awake for this many long, another person stays awake for that long.
Mm-hmm.
And it's they were already having problems with those issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so other people that were in that industry were looking elsewhere of what else they could do. So
Right.
they may have been leaving, and then you have COVID
mm-hmm.
that shut everything down for months on end. So if you have a truck driver that was used to making a nice 10, 15, 20 grand a month,
mm-hmm.
and then you say, you can get on unemployment, that unemployment wasn't enough for what they live for.
No.
They had to figure something else out, because
mm-hmm.
a lot of people aren't returning. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not returning. to their old jobs. They're resigning. They're finding something else better.
Yes.
You know, through this pandemic, you realize, oh, I need to do better for me.
Right. Right. I mean, and I think that's one of the big, wake up calls is that a lot of these companies, there's a lot of companies that tried to keep people on and tried to but you only have so much money, even as a business owner. I mean, you can't keep paying people if you're not making anything or doing any type of service, regardless of whether it's a medical pandemic or not. So it affected, it was like a 360 of how things were affected. And that's the first time I can say I know that I think that you and I lived through something like that. Shutdown of schools, shutdown of restaurants, businesses. That was ridiculous. I was scared just because I wasn't used to it. We go through hurricanes and stuff, and it's like things are shut down briefly.
That's different.
That was extended months. It's like you can go to the store. That's it. And it better be important to go to. I was just going to Walmart just to get out the house, to be honest. I was like, I gotta go to the store. I gotta get out of this house.
Gotta get out of here. Well,
we need toilet paper?
Right? Oh my goodness. I am so glad that I keep up on those type of products. And it was to a point where, like, I had neighbors, we were giving them toilet paper.
Yeah.
And because if you went to the store, they didn't have it.
That was crazy. Yeah, that was crazy.
Especially where I'm at, we only got one store.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to drive 45 minutes to an hour to get to another store, if they have it.
Yeah.
That was, ugh.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think the worst was when I started to freak out was that I think it was maybe the first month, the first couple of weeks when the food shelves, that's when we were seeing empty food shelves, the meat was gone and stuff like that. I was like, oh shucks. And I was so expecting like those movies, where you see the people all ransack the grocery stores and it's like people fighting over a ham,
right.
That's what's coming next. I swear, I was like, I said, if that happens, it's going to be bedlam. But
I was happy my husband embraced his gardening side because now he started doing gardening. It's a hydroponics, so it doesn't go into the dirt.
Yeah.
He started that like a few years ago. And so when this happened, he geared up.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able just to kind of like there's stuff growing in it now that he has like fall and winter plants in there now.
Yeah.
Where you can go in, snap some lettuce, where it's like, okay, it may not be what I want to eat.
Right.
But at least I have food.
Right.
At the least I have that. Yeah. And I think really that was partly what helped with my weight loss during that time is because we were making sure we were eating what we had, and then adding to it, it wasn't even a point for us like, oh, we don't have the money, which is what some people were going through.
Right. Yeah.
Some people were going through, we don't have the money. We didn't have that problem. It was this, we can't find the supplies.
Right. Yeah.
We can't find what we want, without driving so far. So, and I feel very blessed and lucky that that was our issue.
Yeah.
Because, you watch the news and you see people, especially people that are working a job where they're only making minimum wage. They were barely making it to begin with.
Right.
Especially if you work in the restaurant industry.
Oh, well, you got that was it for you because the restaurant's closed.
The restaurant's closed.
Yeah, that was it.
And then you had to go through the whole process of unemployment. Well, that is not a seamless process in any state.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were people, they were months and months and months of not getting any checks, and then you had problems with people not getting their stimulus checks and it was like it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think about, I'm like, I feel very blessed because I had this business, especially selling stuff. And let me tell you, we did real good during COVID.
Oh yeah, no, my business boomed during COVID because people were home shopping.
They were like, things that I would be like, oh, that probably will take forever to sell. If they needed it and if it broke or whatever, and they see, oh, it's shipping from Virginia, I can get it in less than 5 days. Buy,
right?
And then we got to the point where we had the money, but we couldn't buy any more product.
Right.
We couldn't get any more liquidations because those warehouses weren't deemed an essential business.
Right.
In some places, it's funny how state to state, what was essential and what wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
One state, this business is essential. Another state, not so much. It's funny how that all worked out. But we say all that to say, putting those workers under that 7-week quarantine isn't going to really impact the lives of everyone that depends on those products.
Right. Yeah.
And the only thing it's going to do is make prices go up, because as a business owner who sells stuff, I'm already having to think about raising prices, not because I'm greedy and want to have all the money. It's because I have to cover what everything costs.
Right.
Shipping goes up. Shipping's already up because it's we're in the holiday season. We're at the holiday prices right now. So I'm already going to have to raise my prices. And then I'm thinking about supplies that I need for shipping. Where do those things come from?
Right.
So I need to get those things, or else I can't ship anything. At least I can't ship it in a nice fashion, So it's going to raise the prices.
Yeah.
It's going to raise.
Definitely. You definitely. I mean, I can just like major supply chain issues when even in building the house. I mean, we were waiting months for things like cabinets, windows. So if you can imagine that, windows were, and even my neighbors who have moved in or are moving in, they all had the same issues. That what they ended up doing is ordering the windows extra early to compensate, but my windows were still a month late, even after they had planned and ordered them early. So things like that. So if you can imagine that, that's going to impact us. So anybody who's doing any building businesses, repairing businesses, things like that, that's where it's going to impact. We have this infrastructure bill coming in, right? So infrastructure, you're talking about like, raw materials for roads and building up bridges and stuff. A lot of those raw materials come from overseas. They may not even come from China directly. It might come from Africa or something, but they get here through those same cargo ships.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Through those different ports. It's, a global economy that we're in. So we might not see it necessarily in the products that end up on our shelves or don't end up on our shelves, but we might see it as in like you're waiting in traffic because they're fixing the road and they've run out of materials or what, you know what I mean? Like
and the roads like that there,
right?
Where they have one lane,
right?
And you're like, why ain't they working?
Right?
You got no materials,
right? Right. So we have that endless road work that never seems to get done. So it's gonna
Pennsylvania good for that,
right? Right. So so we'll see. We'll be talking about it. So
because we're gonna feel the effects. If you think about it, this has started to be imposed 7 weeks. What's 7 weeks from now? It's gonna hit us around January. So, and what's funny, normally around January, that's around that time period, you still have a slowdown in China because they have their holiday season.
Chinese New Year,
And that I've always known that, like, okay, and it gets a little slow.
Yeah.
Okay, a little. Okay, you get a little slow down because they are celebrating the holiday. It's their holiday season. But when you add COVID on it, that's a whole nother thing.
Right. Yeah.
So it's gonna be an issue that we'll continue to monitor. We'll continue to talk about, but this also is a thing that you need to think about. How do I pivot?
Right.
So I know for me with pivoting, yes, I sell physical products, but I also sell digital products.
Right.
This way, when you buy it, you get it.
Yeah.
Why do I do that? Well, it's a lot easier. It's a lot cheaper when I don't have to do shipping.
Right. Yeah.
And it becomes a lot cheaper for the buyer.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to worry about a physical product coming to their home and waiting on, getting it shipped, waiting for it to be delivered. And then they're a week or two out from the knowledge that they're going to get that they could have within seconds. So I'm definitely working on my digital products, working on like my own, I call it like my own literature, that I like to write. Just I need that, for me, I need that outlet. And I always just did it just to do it. And then I'm like, I need to sell it.
Yeah.
Someone might like this story, So I'm working, that's kind of how I'm pivoting. And it's funny because today my husband want to pick up a liquidation load. And we haven't really done that, like did a real big load in a long time. Because logistically, it ain't cheap.
Right.
It's not cheap at all. So he decided he's going to go pick it up himself, which helps logistic wise. But it's going to be an all day thing. So he had to take off from work. So, and that's the thing, sometimes your job kind of gets in the way of what you want to do. So, but luckily he's worked all the way through COVID.
Right.
So he's accumulated a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's the end of the year and he's only have so many days that he can kind of transfer over to the next year. And he's like, I'm going to take my time and I'm going to get some more products in because now, and it's funny now knowing this with the whole quarantine, we can make more than what we were originally going to make because we're going to have to raise the prices.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So if you are not on like a side hustle right now, I don't know what else to tell you.
Right. Yeah.
This is like the time for you to generate your side hustle. Yeah. Now, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to sell physical products like Nikki and I do, but you don't even have to sell products. Do you have knowledge that you can give to people? Is there a certain niche that you understand, about? It's time to start using your knowledge and making some money off of it because you really don't know. There is no job right now that I feel that, oh, I got that job, I'm fine.
Right. Yeah. I agree. I think it's always best. I mean, and I've always thought it's always best to have multiple streams of income, regardless, even before the pandemic, just because you never know. You just never know. I mean, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, but I think that even now, I mean, it's small business is not for everybody. And I'm always the first to say that. Some people like job security, but what if there is no job security? You need to have something as a backup plan. I have met a lot of people over the last couple of months, who are doing things totally different than what they thought that they would be doing because their job was just erased, So, they had to go out and try to compete for things and jobs that, they're starting at the ground level with. And even though, incomes are a little bit higher because we do have a bit of a labor shortage anyway, who wants to be in that position where it's like, okay, in order to pay my mortgage, in order to pay my bills, I got to go and totally learn a new career or you know what I mean? Totally learn something different.
That's exhausting.
That's exhausting. It's scary. It's very insecure. But wouldn't it be nice to be able to make money from a hobby or something that you like to do? Just even if it's just a backup so that it's just money coming in while you are switching careers or switching jobs or, I think it's just something that everybody should have in place. Even if you don't feel comfortable, I went to a craft fair over the holidays, and a lot of the people, like, I always ask people, like, how did you get started? Why did you just do this? A lot of these people started their crafts over COVID, over the pandemic. This one lady said she was bored and she just started doing this. She makes these beautiful wreaths and place settings and stuff, and just absolutely gorgeous, professional. Look like you could have bought it right out of the store. I mean, that's how detailed it was. And she's like, yeah, I was just sitting around and I just started doing this. And she had a whole table full of this stuff. And there was a lot of people like that who this was their pandemic project. And they, now they're at the craft table selling it, and really, really nice, and that lady, honestly, I think she had underpriced herself for what she told me she did to make the things, and she was selling them as low as like $40. And I was like, you really need to raise your prices. But but that's all learned thing. You learn pricing, especially when you're starting as a hobby, it's part of the journey, but that's also like the types of things that we work on with people and how to help people with things like that. But it's a learning process. So, everybody doesn't come out the gate knowing what they're doing, and that's fine. But she still went home with some money,
That's good. She ended up with more than what she came there with.
Exactly. So, and that is the bonus of that. So
yeah, that first dollar, that first sale, that first time you make money off of the thing that you know how to do, that you're doing for yourself. When you get money from it that first time, you're normally completely nervous.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know how things are going to work. But when you get money that first time, there's nothing like that feeling. Nothing like that. I remember the feeling that I had my first sale on Amazon. I had a feeling of disbelief.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it couldn't have been this easy.
Yeah.
And then I had a feeling of being mad at myself.
Yeah.
For not starting it earlier.
Yeah. And you gotta forgive yourself for that.
Right. Exactly. I could have been doing this years ago, and that's okay. Like, I think about that. Like, I think about what I could have done in my 20s, but then I think about the person that I was in my 20s. Maybe I just wasn't mature enough or had enough life experience to really put my full heart into it. I could have been doing it and messing it all up and not caring.
Right.
Whereas the Tiffany that I am today, every penny that she puts into something, she makes sure she gets back and then some, and that she's getting something out of it.
Right. Yeah.
So things happen when they're supposed to happen. That's kind of how I kind of feel about it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And that learning process, that maturing level, I mean, that's what makes you a better business owner in the long run. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a learning process. It's a journey. I think even like mindset wise, if we as a culture kind of switch from having to have like an outcome for things sometimes and just enjoy the process of it. I mean, it's like, it doesn't always have to end in $1 million. Sometimes let's just go through the process of, I learned a new skill. I developed something about myself. I sat and had patience and, knitted or whatever, did a craft or wrote a book or any of these things. Like, it's all about the journey. I mean, sometimes you get to the end of the journey and you're like, even like, I mean, to bring this up again, like even moving into the house, it's like, once I'm moved in, it's like, okay, that was fun. What's next? You know what I mean? Like, like at the end of the journey is you have to start something new, and
Right.
even that's a journey in of itself. So sometimes it doesn't always have to be an outcome. Sometimes it can just be, hey, I'm learning something. And I don't think that as a culture we give ourselves enough time and credit to enjoy that part of it. It's always like the hustle game. It's always like,
Right.
I got the Porsche and the Lamborghini outside, and I'm making it rain or whatever.
Right.
Like, okay, that's fun for a
Yeah.
while, but
Yeah.
but I don't know. I mean, it's like there's a time in my life where that was interesting, but now, I mean,
Not so much.
yeah, not so much. And
Not so
everybody gets to that point. Yeah.
Not so
So,
much.
yeah.
So one way to help you reach these great entrepreneurial goals is to use nav.com. Nav.com is a website that you can use for free to help you with establishing your business as a legal entity, as well as helping you with business credit. They have great tutorials on their website that helps you with setting up your business correctly, as well as helping you go through the process of setting up business credit. These are things that are going to be helpful for you in your business when you work towards your goals of being an Entrepremommy. So if you want to sign up for Nav, the link is in our description box, and you can sign up for your free account with nav.com.
Awesome.
So the other thing that we were going to talk about today is Dollar Tree. So everyone knows Dollar Tree. It's a place you go in, everything's $1. I remember the commercial. It was so annoying. How much is this? $1. How much is that? $1. Right. I remember the commercial. Well, that commercial ain't going to get played no more because they have decided that they are going to be $1.25 tree.
Yes.
So, and it's funny that they announced this, I believe, before I read about the 7-week quarantine.
Yes, right. I wonder, maybe they might go up to $1.50 now.
Might be $1.50, because it's funny because when Dollar Trees kind of first came out, they were an anomaly because it was like, I can go to this store and only pay $1 for this stuff. And sometimes it was things that were, if you went to like a big box store like Target or Walmart, you might have paid more than $1. And then there were manufacturers and companies that started to make products just for the dollar store.
Just for the dollar store.
So I remember being a young mom, struggling. And I went to the dollar store plenty of times to get household needs. That would have cost me a lot of money going to, a big box store. I remember I used to go there to get my laundry. Soap. Then they started selling food.
I remember when they started selling food. I'm like, you get this from the dollar store?
Right. Well, the one that was near me years ago, they had a bread truck that came there.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. Y'all got fresh bread for $1? Yeah. And you would look now, the bread, if you noticed, it wouldn't be as big.
No, it'd be a little bit smaller.
It was a little bit smaller. But for my household, it was just me and a kid. That was perfect.
Yeah.
And, they were really, really on the up with what they're doing, that you could get makeup there. You could, of course, they got all the different candies,
Yes.
And it's a nice place that if you have a kid but you don't feel like going to Walmart to get them a toy, they can get a nice little cute little toy for $1 at the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
But according to like what they were saying in their announcement was something to the fact of they still may not, how can I say, be able to put everything in the store that they would like to put into the store. And this will allow them to put more into the store by raising the price. which is what part of their announcement is. So
Yeah.
I'm very anxious to watch how this works out, how this plays out.
Right.
Because I'm not saying that people aren't going to go to the dollar store because it's $1.25.
Right.
It's still cheaper.
Right.
Than certain places. Now, I will say I have noticed as just a regular consumer, there are times when things are at the dollar store and I'm like, I can get that cheaper.
Yes. Yeah. You can get it cheaper at Walmart. Yeah. Certain things. Yep. That's very true.
That from time to time, you know what I mean? So, I'm like, okay, you have to watch, but there's even things that I like, personal hygiene items that they may have that I'm like, where I've only seen them there, or if I see them at a store, they do cost a little bit more. So, I'll get them there or whatever. But it's just going to be interesting to watch, see how does this evolve their stores? Are they going to do an expansion?
Right.
What more of a product offering could they provide?
Right. Well, Dollar Tree, they own Dollar General and Family Dollar.
Yes, they do.
Dollar General and Family Dollar have always had things for more than $1. Because I remember the first time I went in there and I was like, this is false advertising.
Yeah, because it's generally not $1.
Right. I was like, they ain't nothing but like 2 things $1 in Family Dollar. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and I was reading the article, which I didn't realize, but I kind of picked up on, is that Family Dollar is geared to more urban centers. Dollar General is geared to more farm centers, like more rural locations. And I thought that was really interesting. They kind of have the monopoly on the dollar, on the dollar name anyway. So, I feel, I think that I don't like that the Dollar Tree is going to be a $1.25 tree, because they're already making money on over $1 products, and their other two flankers.
Right.
So, I feel like, I know all of our costs are going up on a business side. I get it. But I also know, and as you know, how much stuff really costs. So I don't know why they can't sell some of this stuff for $1 because they only got it for 2 cents.
Right. So one of the things that I was thinking about, as I was reading this, because they did, they glossed over it a little bit. They are talking about the higher cost of labor.
Yeah.
Because normally a person working,
put a self-checkout in there then.
Right. Because apparently a person working a Dollar Tree is probably making a little bit over minimum wage.
Right. Yeah.
Then you have probably an assistant store manager and a store manager. Then I'm sure there's a regional, and then from there, just like it is in any other chain store. But like you said, self-checkout, because Walmart don't care. Nope. They say check your own self out.
Shoot, CVS. When CVS put self-checkouts in it, remember CVS lines?
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't have a
self-checkout. That they put a self-checkout in there.
See, I don't have. I used to have a CVS. Now it's all Walgreens. But
it's all Walgreens. Oh, okay. Yeah, they put 2 little teeny self-checkouts in CVS, and it makes the world difference, because CVS is notorious for not staffing appropriatly, in my opinion. It's only one person in the store. And it's 50 people at the checkout, and it's and so that was wise on their part. It was wise on their part. But I think it's a mistake for them to raise their price, to be honest. Just because to me, I know, like I said, prices are going up, but I think they're just being a little bit greedy, because they have other outlets where they can sell stuff for over $1 that we're comfortable. When I walk into a Dollar General or Family Dollar, I'm now comfortable paying more than $1 for most of their stuff. And when I go to Dollar Tree, I want $1. I don't want $1.25.
Right. Because
I already got to deal with
if I buy 20 items, I can bring my $20 bill. I'm with you.
They don't take returns. You know what I mean? Come on. So they got it made. they don't have to deal with, that part, restocking and all that stuff, because they won't take returns.
Right.
So, and I learned that I had boycotted Dollar Tree for about a year and a half because of one of their employees was being rude to my children, my twins, the angels that they are. They were being brats. But, he didn't have to point that out. but so I was like, I wanted to return all my stuff. He's like, well, you can't return. We don't accept returns. So there. It's just like,
okay.
I'm like, okay. So yes, and my moral indignation, I could not even return my stuff. So they have a lot of things built into their business model that keeps them from losing money in ways other stores don't. So I think if they could keep things $1, put in 2 self-checkouts, and call it a day if they want to make up some of that cost that's going up, some of those rising costs. But I think it's a mistake on their part. I feel like maybe in 6 months stuff will be $1 again.
I'm very anxious to see what happens. I think about like you said, they have Family Dollar and they have Dollar General. Those are all part of their umbrella.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, this will allow them to put a more diverse stock in their store. But I'm like, well, can't you just sell it at the other stores?
Right. Like they have stuff that they already just sell there that you can't get at Dollar Tree. So like furniture, you can get furniture from Dollar General and Family Dollar. Decorations.
I don't buy it, but
I got me a nice little shelf from Dollar General.
Really?
Yes, indeedy, girl. This is nice, matches my decor and everything. Yes, it
was reasonable for you.
It was $12 little shelf because all I needed was in the entryway just to hold up my plants and stuff. But it was very cute and very easy to put together. And so, but yeah, I mean, but you can get sheets and towels and curtains and all this stuff.
True.
And you can't they got the really cheap towels at the Dollar Tree, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can get there. Yeah, that you can't get at Dollar Tree, and people are comfortable paying, for this stuff at their other stores. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't necessarily like. There's certain things that, like you said, I will go to Dollar Tree for because I like what like. There's a foam cleaner at Dollar Tree that's $1, and I love it for my windows. I use it for the tubs and stuff in the shower.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I love that, and it's only $1. I buy like 4 or 5 cans of it. Love it. There's other things. Oh, there's like the 3-in-1 shampoo I get from the Dollar Tree. Love it because I love it for the kids. I mean, there's certain things that I will only buy at the Dollar Tree, and there's certain things that I've never seen some of these things at other stores, and I like the quality of it.
Right.
If I was Dollar Tree, I would start trying to build my brand of items that you can only get at Dollar Tree for $1 versus trying to bring in other stuff that I'm already buying somewhere else, and I probably won't buy from Dollar Tree unless I watch a YouTube video and somebody recommends it.
Right. Well, I love Dollar Tree for decorations.
Yes.
Things that they're seasonal.
Yes.
Stuff.
Their seasonal stuff is on point.
It's on point.
Yes.
Because I am not one to decorate. I don't decorate. That's not my thing. That's not my calling. But my little one called me and my husband out and said we didn't decorate for Halloween. And he wanted us to decorate for Halloween.
Yes.
So I was like, well, he's right. We could decorate something. I went right to, guess where I went? Right down to the Dollar Tree. I found a little skeleton door hanger I put outside the door.
Yeah.
They had like a little pumpkin carving kit. Now I will say it was a little janky. Thankfully, we had some other things here.
Yeah.
But I will say I was able to get like a little pumpkin carving kit that was kind of neat where you wet it and you put it on the pumpkin.
Yeah.
And that's what you use to carve out for the pumpkin. I was like, wow, for $1?
That's pretty cool.
I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we got, I got some other little things. I spent less than $10.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that was worth it.
Yes.
Because I, as a person I probably could have spent about $20, but I wasn't going to do that. A couple years ago, actually probably last year, when we did, we sent things out for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I got these nice little boxes from the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
I actually did not get them at the store. I ordered them online because
that's the other thing. That's right. I forgot about that.
Fact, yes. Dollar Tree sells in cases online.
Yeah.
So they didn't discuss that in any articles that I saw. So I'm kind of wondering how that's going to work out online.
Yeah. I bought a whole case of those like plastic containers, like makeup containers, like you'd put like cotton balls and I bought a whole case of those because I needed like about 6 of them, and I was like, well, I'll just get them from the Dollar Tree online, and they offer the option that they'll ship it to your local store.
Yep. And you don't pay for shipping.
Yes. And so those are things like that. And you're right. I'm wondering how that's going to affect that too, because that is a bonus on their part.
It's nice because I resell them items too.
Yes, girl. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I resell that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And in fact, my first sale on Amazon came from stuff from Dollar Tree.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yes, so that is a definite because the one also good thing about Dollar Tree is that their stuff is limited too. Yes. So sometimes they'll have there's one thing I bought at the Dollar Tree and they don't sell it anymore. So I would call it their limited edition stuff, but it's like they'll get something in, they'll sell out during the season. You won't be able to find it again, maybe either till next season or not at all. You're right. Sometimes these items are actually very good, very well made and very useful. There was like a hand plunger that I used to use. It's like for sinks and stuff like that. But I used to use it with the tub with the kids, and I should have bought like 3 of them. Only bought one, and then when it ran out, but it lasted me for like 3 years. It ran out of
for $1.
For $1 last week.
You got the value.
And I kept going back to Dollar Tree looking for this thing, and they don't sell it anymore. I'm so pissed. But things like that, if you think of it on a resale, point of view, you buy certain things, you know they're not going to restock them. There's another thing they don't restock a lot is those candy molds. Those candy molds, and a lot of people use them a lot of business owners use them to make candy, to make candles, to make
candles. Actually, I was gonna say I make candles.
yeah. But I'm saying if you get skeletons or something for Halloween, you can only get them during Halloween. But let's say you have like a goth line or something, and you use skeletons in your branding or whatever. The only way you're gonna get that is if somebody resells that. You're not gonna get it from Dollar Tree until next Halloween. So they have a lot of limited stuff that you can only get one time a year, and that's it. So, yeah. And I started picking up on that too. Like, I'm just like, okay, and sometimes that's where some good sales come in when people realize they want a pineapple and it's January and you're not getting pineapples until July. Pineapple themed stuff. Let's put it that way. And you're not getting it. And then I happen to have a pineapple drawn right over here, But so Dollar Tree has a place in our society more than just offering cheap products. I mean, it's a crafter's gold mine. I mean, there's some things that's like
it's cheaper than Michael's.
Let me tell you, there's a whole market of people who are on YouTube who just go to Dollar Tree and then show you what you can do with their products.
Yes. That is a whole niche.
A whole niche of a girl I follow. Yes.
If you think about it, like I think about like my videos that I make, it's not much, right. But sometimes according to whatever niche you're in, you have to spend a few dollars, in order to make it. Right. So if a person is showing you how to make something, they go to the dollar store, they spend $10 and they just showed you a craft that you can do with your kid.
Yes.
Or something that you can use in life, like put on your dresser and you know, that and honestly, in my opinion, Dollar Tree didn't embrace that right.
No, that's exactly what I'm thinking. They have a whole bunch of people on these YouTubes that are doing, and you think that they would build that up more. They could, I mean, they, instead of putting a 25-cent charge on things, they need to use these influencers, these Dollar Tree influencers,
right?
And they could really beef up, because there's all kinds of really cool craft projects. Like this one lady, she'll show you how to decorate from Dollar Tree. You can decorate your bathroom. You can make little baskets. I mean, she shows you how to do it without no sew baskets, no this. And like, that girl had me going to Dollar Tree, spending at least $5 just to do a craft that she should can I talk? That she suggested, right? So that's where you're right. That is a money center that they probably didn't utilize, and maybe they will. Maybe they'll listen to us.
Maybe. And if they get a hold of a few influencers or YouTubers, even if they were just to share their videos, on their social media, and say, make a great great wreath for your home for the holidays. Follow so-and-so as they show you how to use that by products that you can purchase at our store. Like, you could really do a lot.
Yes. Or even doing the like Michael's and what's the other one? AC Moore thing, having an in-store tutorial.
Yes.
Because I'll spend a good hour and a half in Dollar Tree just walking up and down the aisles, right?
That's what I do.
If there was a tutorial,
because it's so cheap.
Yes.
You're like, okay, let me see what else they have that I might want.
Yep.
I said want, not need. That I might want. And go, oh, let me it's only $1.
Yep. And if they had somebody on Saturday mornings or Saturday afternoons who was showing you how to make a lampshade with $2 items or whatever, girl, I would sit and watch. And then maybe if I like the lampshade, I'd go pick up the items. But they don't do that.
You can sell that lampshade on Etsy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and I think one of the things that I teach people too, like when I used to coach for Amazon, is their books. Their book section.
Yes,
you can go there and buy books for $1 that are selling on Amazon.
On some Dollar Tree books.
Dollar Tree books, I used to go there with my phone, girl.
Yep.
You start scanning. Oh, okay. This book is selling for $15. How many of them they got? All right, they got 10. That's 10. That's a $10 investment.
Yep. To this day, there are when I go into Dollar Tree, I walk over to the book section because there's certain books that I look for, and I'll be like, okay, let's see what they got in regards to this, because there are certain books that always sell on Amazon, regardless of what time of year it is or whatever. There's certain books that always sell, and sometimes you can pick them up at the Dollar Tree. Sometimes they have something that will relate to somebody. You just never know. And you're right. I don't know that they really utilize some of the other ways that we have utilized the Dollar Tree. I don't think they've done enough research on how people really use. They're thinking people are going there for products, for just cheap products. It's not really what people are doing. I mean, yes, you can go there and you can get, juice and candy and stuff like that. And you can get like placemats and things like that. But really, to make it as a business, or to make it as you have to find a way to see how people are utilizing your store in their everyday life. And people aren't just going there just for odds and ends. They're going there for their business.
Right.
One area they could have built up, their shipping center. I used to go into Dollar Tree to get my small envelopes from there sometimes, because sometimes I would try to buy like 500 envelopes at a time. Right. But let's say I ran out, or let's say I'm on the go. I would stop right off at Dollar Tree, get me a $1 envelope, a padded envelope,
right?
some
Get
tape,
a few of them just to get you through.
Let me go to the post office. I didn't even have to stop at home or something.
Yeah.
They didn't build up that part of their business. There are small boxes. There's not I'm very similar. I don't sell large products if I don't have to because of the shipping. So I try to keep most of my products that I sell under £1, right? So small boxes, they could have really built that up. Like I'm talking about even like jewelry boxes and stuff like that. I used to get my jewelry boxes that I sell my oils in from the Dollar Tree. And they stopped selling them. And I'm like, why did they stop selling them? But there's profit centers there that they could exploit that they haven't really exploited, And so I don't know who's at the helm of all that, but
they need to be listening to us.
They need to be listening to us because I'll tell you what you need to sell for $1. You don't have to do $1.25.
Exactly.
There's things that you can sell for $1 that y'all ain't selling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Wow, we did a good $1.15 on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the day we kind of just went over, we had a great time over the weekend. Yay. And
1995.
Once again, we want to shout out the Checkered Mat.
Yes.
Shout out the Checkered Mat. They do awesome work.
Yes, she does.
There's nothing that she can't do.
Yeah. And we actually did a video. So check out our previous video.
Yes.
You can get like a intro to Kim and what she does too.
Yeah. So we're very thankful for all her hard work that she did for planning the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready because there's going to be some more supply chain issues because of the new quarantine that's being placed in China.
Yes.
So I'm not telling you to, we're not telling you to don't order from there, but we're telling you to pivot.
Yeah.
It might be
time to find another source. Yeah.
Find another source, or it might be time to take your knowledge of what you do and start telling people how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
That might be something to pivot, or just add another income stream while you're sitting there waiting 2 months for your stuff to show up.
Exactly.
And we want to send a little shout out to Dollar Tree and say, look, don't raise your prices. We need them at $1.
That's right.
Come to us. We'll help you.
That's right. We have ideas for other products you can sell for $1.
We'll help you. All right.
Yes.
Just keep it at $1.
Keep it at $1.
It's why I like it. It's simple math, Nikki.
Yes.
I count up how many items I got. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I got 10 items. All right, I got $10. All right, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Bam. I know how much I'm spending. It's simple. Sometimes I spend cash in there just because I have the cash.
Yeah. Now $1.25, you're really taxing my brain now.
Now I might have to. Now I'm going to think about it. Do I got quarters?
And that's the other thing too. They're not going to sell everything for $1.20. They'll still have stuff that's $1. So, but now I'm going to have to figure out. Okay, this one was $1. This one was $1.25. This.
And stuff ain't gonna scan, right?
No.
It's a lot easier when every SKU is $1.
Yes.
You know how easy that is to program into a system?
Yes.
Everything's $1. Now you're gonna differentiate between what's $1. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What can I say? Well, this has been another episode of Entrepremommies. I am Tiffy T, the Resellqueen. I can be reached at info@resellqueen.com. You can always go to entrepremommies@gmail.com to send us an email if you want to talk to us or have questions and whatnot. And Nikki, let them know how they can reach out to you.
Okay, I'm Nicole Flamer. I'm on Twitter with @HomeWithNicole. You can reach me there if you have any questions or concerns or interests in anything that I talk about. That's pretty much it. I'm on Facebook. I have a couple of different brands that I haven't really said anything about, but if you want to talk to me, @HomeWithNicole is the best way to reach me.
There you go. So this has been another episode of Entrepremommies, and we are the mommies that handle business.
Okay, peace out.
Bye-bye.
mommies. We share from experience. Moms talk about things